wellnesscouch.com, streaming wellness into your lives.
You're listening to A Quirky Journey, the Healthy Family Podcast with your hosts Jo Whitten and Leah Follett. Welcome to A Quirky Journey. Join us as we share our family's journeys to good health. You'll find plenty of inspiration, tips and recipe ideas, as well as stories from everyday people who've struggled and overcome health problems and diet challenges in their own families. I'm Jo Whitten, author of the blog and book Quirky Cooking, and I'm here with my fabulous friend and co-host, Leah Follett. Hi, Leah.
Hi, how are you?
Good, and I know you're a bit excitable today, so this could be a bit crazy.
I know. I'm going to try and contain myself.
No, don't do that. It's pretty fun when you're crazy.
Honestly, this morning, actually, I feel sorry for the people I'm staying with because I flew into Hervey Bay yesterday, and since I've been here, it's just like, I'm so excited. So I've absolutely lost the plot, and I've been doing Steve Hayter taught me to do some Steve Hayter from that Paleo show taught me to do some mindful breathing and to stay calm and be present. But
is it working?
I'm off the scale, and even if I manage to calm myself down, as soon as I'm calm, I go back to what I'm doing, and then I go, oh, my God! And it's just I lose it again.
Because you suddenly think about what you're doing tonight.
I do. It's just like even going to sleep for the last week, it's just like I go to bed and it's like, don't think about Paleo Way. Don't think about Paleo Way.
Just go to sleep.
I just lose it. I lose it, and then I'm awake again. I'm like, oh! And
you're so funny. Did you sleep last night?
Yeah, actually, I did.
You were exhausted.
I was. It was a big day getting here yesterday. So, it's planes, trains and automobiles sort of thing for me to get up here. I had some trusty, essential oils that helped me sort of calm a little bit. But, it's only a few hours away. Mm-hmm. And there's to be no calming is going to be done. There is no level. Nothing can contain this at the moment. I'm off the scale.
Well, you better explain what you're talking about because a lot of people will be like, what?
Okay. So Pete Evans is coming to Bundaberg. I'm just like, oh, man. It's just such a big deal that he's coming here. Firstly, because he's Pete Evans and everybody knows by now that I think he's gorgeous. I just love the man. I love everything about him. I love the way he speaks. I love that he's sometimes unsure of himself or, he's putting himself out there and he's really putting his heart out into what he's doing. Yeah. And, he just has to wait and see how it's received. And, of course, that's scary for everyone. So I love that real entity that you can see in him. And, it just makes it all from a more enjoyable and whole experience. And he's coming to Bundaberg. And what that means for Bundaberg, and I'm sure there's lots of people travelling in, is that, this is the sugar industry. This is, people's jobs. They've got, the rum factory. They've got Bundaberg brewed drinks. So a lot of the jobs in industry here are all sugar industry based.
Sugar.
It is. And, we've just had, I haven't seen it yet, but that sugar movie, the sugar film that's come out, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, me too.
So for a lot of people, change here is really hard because, their kids work for the industry, their fathers work for it, that provides an income for them. And it's kind of hard then to sort of say, oh, we're not going to buy that, we're not going to do that, because that's not essentially supporting their jobs, I suppose. So, but, there's so many, and we're not saying don't have sugar, we're just saying bring in more of those foods that are going to support you nutritionally. Yeah. But, it's a big deal here in Bundaberg. And, a hairdresser was even talking to a friend of mine about this. There's this woman in Sydney, and she's on this podcast show. She's coming to Bundaberg.
Oh, that is so cool.
You know that you've made it big time when the local hairdresser in Bundaberg knows more about you than you do. It's just like, so my gosh.
Oh, that's cool.
All of that's been going on. There's just so much hype, the newspapers, a couple of local cafes are getting in, and even the local producers are bringing in their food for the event because there's so many of them. There's so many people here because it's such a big agricultural area. There are so many people here that have got, it's their livelihood and they're so passionate about their food and, to have this kind of message that we're just bringing back whole foods, real foods and local sustainable foods is just such an important thing, and it's giving them, the farmers, more power. Yeah. So, and more encouragement. So everyone, I've got goosebumps. Yeah. I've got goosebumps. And I reckon everyone else in the whole postcode, everyone else in 4670 postcode is feeling the same thing at the moment. It's just, it's better than Super Bowl.
Woohoo! Of course it is.
I know.
Food, sports just does not compete with food for me.
No, absolutely not. No, couldn't hold a flame to this and what's going on. But you have just come off. You've actually spoken at the same tour in Cairns.
Yeah, so that was fun.
How did that go?
We had our ups and downs, but it was really fun.
Ups and downs, no. It's all sunshine, baby. What's going on?
I made a boo-boo.
No.
I messed up my recipe.
Are you serious?
Oh, I was so embarrassed.
Oh, Joe. Were you dazzled by the man you were standing next to? I won't tell Dave, I promise, because will. I'm going to be tongue-tied.
No, I didn't feel nervous at all. I was just like having fun and chatting away and actually joking around saying, I always thought it would be really freaky to be on MKR or something like that. I'd probably mess the recipe up and I'd be so embarrassed, and then I messed the recipe up.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. My poor old Thermomix got yes, I was looking over the back of it, and because it's the new Thermomix, it's very hard to see over. It's higher, and the table was like quite wide, and so I was leaning over the table trying to see, and I thought that it was on reverse, but it wasn't, so I mushed the chorizo. So that was quite embarrassing. So I was making the chorizo and seafood paella with the cauliflower rice, and it's just so delicious. I've made it so many times, and my friends, whenever I make it for them, they love it, and I make it in the Thermomix. So what I do is chop up the cauliflower in the Thermomix, set that aside, and then put that into the Varoma dish and put that aside, and then put the sliced chorizo and coconut oil into the Thermomix bowl and cook that for about 4 minutes until that's cooked. And then usually it's fine. And then I put that into a bowl, and then I put all the veggies in and roughly chop them for a few seconds, and then put the chorizo back in and cook that for about 8 minutes. And then I put the Varoma on top, and put the stock. There's stock that you've warmed up the stock already with saffron in it. Pour that into the bowl, and then put the Varoma on top with the cauliflower rice and clams and mussels in the shells, and start that cooking for about 8 minutes. And then you put the prawns in, some king prawns, and cook that for another couple of minutes. And then you just basically put it in a big serving dish, mix it all together, and garnish it with chopped parsley and lemon juice and olive oil. It's just delicious. So, yeah, I messed it up.
Okay.
But never mind, we had a good laugh.
Oh, Joe. But do you know what? I saw you speak at the Thermomix event in Sydney, which was amazing. And you just stand behind the Thermomix and you're reading everything upside down. So,
I'm usually
I don't know how
fine
you
with
did it. I really don't.
I think it was just that it was just the way it was set up, I couldn't see very well, and so I thought it was on reverse, but it wasn't. But never mind. We just had a really good laugh about it, and then we actually ran out of time. We'd already talked for 10 or 15 minutes with Pete and Isaac and I, and so we ran out of time, and we just had to dash through the recipe. So he finished it off in the frying pan, and then we just put it aside because there just wasn't even time to even add the seafood. So that was a pity. We just talked them through it. Yeah. But that's okay. Never mind.
You said that Isaac spoke because that was going to be a big thing.
That was.
I saw that on your Facebook page.
Yeah, that was the main thing, that we told our story, and that's what we were there for. So it was really good to be able to share how changing the way we ate and going onto the GAPS diet as a family has helped us all, and what things were like leading up to it and before, and like Isaac talked about, his illness and all the struggles that he's been through, and how he's so happy that he's doing the GAPS diet, and that after 6 months on GAPS, how much better he feels and how happy he is. And, to be able, for a 13-year-old boy to be able to stand up in front of 500 people and not even be nervous.
Was it 500? There was that many people there?
Yeah, apparently. And
wow.
just speak and share his story, and he wasn't nervous. He just really enjoyed it. So that was so good. After, that's a kid who couldn't even leave the house and couldn't feed himself 8 months ago, so
that's incredible.
And that was the main reason we were there. So we did what we went for.
That's just so beautiful. But I mean, that's the nature of this whole tour. Like I was lucky enough to go to the Sydney one.
Yeah.
And it's really just about real food. And, you know, for many people, they sit there and they've been, influenced by the media. And, you know, for many people, even saying the word paleo, it's
the P
like
word.
voodoo. The P word is like voodoo crazy stuff. Oh, no, that's dangerous. But, you know, through the whole thing, sitting there in Sydney, it was all about just eating real food, finding local, sustainable, you know, low chemical, looking at your lifestyle balance. It was such a positive message.
Yeah.
And I suppose just making people aware of their choices, that they have a choice.
And I've had people comment on my Facebook page since then. I've been to the Paleo Way tour and now I understand what they're trying to say, and it makes so much sense. Because a lot of people think, you know, they hear all the media hype and think, oh, this must be dangerous, or I'm not getting what I need and I'm going to be sick if I eat this way. And then when they actually see it and hear it and understand it, they go, oh, okay, the media is just doing their
what
thing
we're
as
talking
usual.
about at all.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, sorry, you go.
Even as Nora was saying and Pete was saying, that whatever healthy sort of diet that you're on, whatever kind of way that you eat, if you add lots of broth and lots of fermented foods, you are going to heal.
Yes.
So they're not, you know, they weren't even really saying you have to be paleo or you will not be well. They were saying it really helps. With so many things to cut out the inflaming sort of things like the grains and the dairy. But even if you only added broths and did the fermented veggies and fermented drinks, it would really help.
Well, that's what my mum's been doing, and my mum has lost 17 kilos.
Wow.
You know, she's, just amazing. She's had so many years she had chronic fatigue, she had toxoplasmosis, she ended up she's been diagnosed with Asperger's.
Wow.
And when I was growing up, you know, that she wasn't there quite a lot because she was such a sickly person. And, you know, for the first part of, you know, even having my children, like her grandchildren, she was there, but she wasn't as active and able as she is now. And, you know, like my kids get on their bikes and she gets on their bikes and they're setting up jumps and Nana's going over the jumps.
Oh, that's so cool.
She's never done anything like that before.
Wow.
And losing that weight and just cleaning up the toxins. And you know what? She says she's paleo, but she's still not strong enough. If she goes out for coffee with someone and someone orders her a cappuccino and it's not made on coconut, or, you know, she gets the wrong order, she's not strong enough to say no. So she'll eat it and then be sick for the next couple of days because she does have a true intolerance to those things. But, you know, she's just got so much energy and all she's doing is just making like those little tiny changes and she's got so much out of the small things that she's done.
Yeah.
So you don't even need to go whole hog and label yourself.
That's right.
That's what you are. And you know, it's not about being rigid. It's not about sticking to that. It's about working in what you've got day to day and then creating and working out what your balance is and where you can tolerate and where you can function within the actual the food ideal for itself.
And with GAPS, it's a little bit different than paleo, like we've talked about before. They do usually bring dairy back in.
Yes.
But that's, like we've said before, that's a personal thing. You decide, you know, what works for you and what you'd prefer to do. My kids are eating a little bit of some cheeses and a little bit of the yogurt and they seem to be okay with that.
Yeah.
But I can't.
No. And, I mean, that comes back to that bio-individual thing as well. You know, some of the things that they're eating are probably, you know, vintage, aged, fermented dairies, that sort of thing. And those things themselves have got amazing medicinal and properties for healing the gut, you know, as Dr. Natasha's protocol explains in her book. But for some people, it is just such a high alert thing in their system that they can't tolerate those things.
Yeah.
You know, like you've just got to look at it and step back and not try to fit the mold. You know, this is the big thing is that, and don't be afraid of failure in this area because every cookbook that's out, even Pete's, is not 100% right for my family. It's not 100% right for me.
Yeah.
And you just have to take it on that. It's there to give you inspiration and ideas. But I'm sure that rather than being rigid and sticking to that recipe or sticking to that food pyramid, which they're creating and sort of pigeonholing yourself. It's about variety, it's about flexibility, and it's about creating something that's sustainable and something that works for you in your body.
Exactly. Yep. There's got to be some flexibility. And
absolutely.
And I think when you first start out on a way of eating, sometimes you're very rigid because you want to follow the rules and do it right. But then it can oftentimes end up, you realize, well, that doesn't work exactly for me like that. I'm just going to have to change it a little.
Yeah. I think it's so much emotional stuff as well because, having, autistic children, they have transitional issues. And I think everyone has transitional issues. I think everyone is a little bit autistic in some way or another. Like everyone's got those
has a little
symptoms.
bit of it. A little bit of OCD.
Has a little bit of it, but they can still function in society. And these autistic kids, they cannot come hell or high water function in society. So that's what doing the whole process is about. It's about getting them to that point. But even as, my first teachings in understanding my kids was, okay, I need to prepare them. I need to transition them. And the start of that is giving them rigid guidelines. And once they're safe and they know those rigid guidelines, then you start pulling that scaffolding away and bringing in other things when they're ready, and that's part of the transition. And food and lifestyle is no different. It's such a scary place. It's new information, so you've got your brain going into it's scary, don't touch it, don't trust it, it's weird, it's different, I don't know how to process that information. So you end up sitting on the fence, you end up being upset or anxious about those things. And I think that the media is playing an awful lot in that area. They're preying on people because it's new, it's different, even though it's not actually new and different. And it's been going on, since history began for us as human beings. Like we're just taking the steps back, but without the proper scaffolding and without all the assistance that we're getting and information, it is just overwhelming. It's scary. And for some people, it's accepting that, hey, look, that was wrong for them.
Yeah.
Or that was the wrong diet, or, so they're making those changes. And then, of course, you look at emotionally, well, the doctor told me this and he said that was fine for me. And then that's a trust issue as well. So you have to learn to trust yourself, and you have to build up a relationship with your practitioners and that they know what's best for you. And then you've got to be accountability partners, and you've got to work together to create, a lifestyle that you want and deserve.
Yeah.
So there's so much going on. Like it's not just the media saying it's dangerous. It's such a big deal for everyone.
Yeah.
And it's scary. It can be scary. It's not scary.
No.
Once you've been through it, you sit there and you're just sort of like, oh, I can't. What was I afraid of? That was just ridiculous. Like once you've done the jump.
That's us with GAPS. It's like,
well, how many
why
questions?
were we even worried? It's just
I know.
really good food.
And GAPS is such, everyone sees GAPS as being so restrictive and it's so hard and it's such a big deal. But until you actually take that first step and until you get your toe wet, you realise actually, no, it's not such a big deal. And the further you go along, the more of the other areas of your life you get back.
Yes.
And then that becomes easier. So it's
and I understand with GAPS, it is scary at first because you're cutting out so many things at first. But it's not long before things are coming back in and you're feeling so much better that you're like, well, that was silly to worry about that.
Well, and also it is hard work.
Yeah.
But, and a lot of people are afraid of hard work as well. Our systems that we've got in place in community and society today, everything is just so easy and push button. Yeah. Everything's instant gratification. Everything's at our fingertips. So the fact you're actually getting your fingers dirty and creating meals and
having to get up an hour earlier and maybe not having quite as much downtime.
On Facebook?
Yeah, because you're busy cooking.
Yeah, because you're busy cooking, but you're switching.
But it's worth it.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely worth it, and it's such an empowering thing. And once you're actually doing it and living it, you just go from strength to strength. And I think that's what this Paleo Way tour has all been about, is just empowering people to not be afraid.
And also showing that there is easier ways and cheaper ways of doing things that people get. Like one of the main things that the media and the Dietitians Association have said is that it's too expensive and too difficult for regular people, but it's neither.
No.
And that's what I think Pete's doing really well, showing that in the Paleo Way tour, because he's showing, 10 easy lunches for the kids' lunch boxes and, a month's worth of quick meals and stuff like that. And it's all basic stuff. It's delicious and it's not dear to make and not expensive, and a lot of it's just really quick to make. So I think that's good for people to see that.
No, definitely.
Well,
Okay.
so what's next? So basically, we haven't even told everyone what we're doing today, but we're just
jumped right into it, didn't we?
We
We were
did.
so excited. That's the excitement. It's the Pete Evans adrenaline's kicked in, and we've lost ourselves.
No, we're just talking about news, basically. So, what's happening? What's happening around the place at the moment? We've got Easter coming up. We've just had the Paleo Way tour, and we're going to talk a bit about the Mind Foundation and the Mind Forum that's coming up in May.
Yes,
that's not far away. So that's basically what we're talking about today. So the news in our world.
The news in our world. Okay, well, aside from Pete.
Yes.
Man, I'm going to get the biggest cuddle, whether he likes it or not. So aside from Pete and what we've been doing with him there is the Mind Forum.
Yes.
Like, oh, man, I've spoken to Leslie this week and I am so excited about what's coming up for them this year. It's the speakers that they have there, it's blown my mind.
I wish I could go.
Well, half the speakers I've never heard of.
It would be so good.
And I've been in this, I've had my blinkers on.
Yeah.
Because you can only take and absorb what you've got time to look and focus on.
Yeah.
So the mind is actually, I'm going. Come hell or high water, I'm going.
Do you want to just explain what it is? Because some people wouldn't have heard of it.
Okay. Well,
do you remember what it stands for?
No, I don't even know what it is.
Let me just go find the
I'm just clicking on there at the moment.
Okay.
So, but I don't know what it actually stands for. It's the acronym. I don't know what that stands for.
It's MINDD.
It is. But as far as I can tell, it's a group of doctors, specialists from all different types of primary care producers.
Here it is.
What is it?
Metabolic, immunologic, neurologic, digestive, developmental. That's what MIND stands for.
That's what Mind stands for.
Yeah, Mind Foundation helps practitioners and patients discover and implement effective treatments for metabolic, immunologic, neurologic, digestive, developmental conditions that often affect the mind. Our focus is on pediatric disorders such as ADHD, asthma, allergies, autism, chronic illness, depression, learning and language delay, and digestive and behavioural disorders. Research is showing that these children are coming from families with a history of brain immuno-gut disorders triggered by toxins, malnutrition, and infections, which is where GAPS comes in.
Well, and that just summed up everything that made my children what they are.
Yeah.
And in short, they are everything that I needed to undo the genetic, epigenetic, modern day chemical load, everything that I put into my kids to make them the way they are. These guys have had some information, and it was like a starting point for me to go back and then be educated enough to ask questions and start looking for more practitioners.
Yeah.
So
we are going to get the lady who began the Mind Foundation on here for an interview, Leslie.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she said she would. Yep. So
I'm so excited.
Yeah, we will do that. But we're just going to give you guys a little bit of an overview of some stuff that's coming up for them, especially the forum, which is the big, exciting.
I know. See, that goes for 3 days. I don't know how I'm going to book a babysitter for 3 days. I'm going to have to fly in a grandparent.
Yes, good idea. Do it.
Oh, but I'm so going. So it's in Sydney.
Yeah.
It's in Sydney. So, oh my gosh, it's local this year.
Oh. So where is it? Isn't it usually in Sydney?
Well, they have one in the Gold Coast as well. So maybe it's alternating years, but this year, and actually last year they had it at Chatswood, which is in Sydney, and this year they're having it at Randwick.
Okay.
So they're going to have, from what I understand, they're going to have like a bit of an expo, and they're going to have people there that have got products and resources and books, which I've only been able to order them online. They're not really mainstream, and they're not in the mainstream bookshops. And for me, I like to pick up the book and I like to flick through it and hold it and then make a decision. So ordering a resource book online is often quite a scary thing for me. So being able to go and have a look at those sorts of things and then engage with the writers or the speakers that are actually going to be there. So it's going to be like a full immersion thing.
So the exciting thing this year is that Natasha Campbell McBride will be there.
Yay!
For all 3 days. So she's from the UK, and she's the one that wrote the Gut and Psychology Syndrome book, which has helped us so much. And
can we change the name of that? Can we call it the Gut Bible?
Yeah. Well, she's speaking on Friday about food is medicine.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday and Sunday, it's all about child and teen health, adult health, and there's practitioner training for, was that for GAPS?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
That's for people that are already health professionals to get extra training in the gut stuff.
Yeah.
So that's really good. So if you're a psychologist, doctor, pediatrician, nurse, naturopath, chiropractor, dietitian, scientist, researcher, or pharmacist.
Anyone with a Bachelor of Science.
Yes, you can go and get some extra training.
One.
Yeah.
Get some extra training. And I think when they do the extra training, they also have the option of being an affiliate or a Mind registered practitioner. I'm not sure how that works. But for anyone else that's actually looking for someone that has a special interest, any practitioners that have a special interest in gut and brain disorders, you just jump on the Mind website and they're all listed there. So if you're looking for an osteo or a naturopath or a pediatrician or, any of those sorts, and you're, because it's really hard. You just turn up to a doctor's appointment or a specialist appointment and you don't know what their focus is. At least if you jump on there, you can see all the doctors that are, like-minded, that believe in, the gut and healing the gut. And at least that's giving you your best start, because sometimes these specialists are really expensive, and to turn up and then them to dismiss there's a link between gut and brain disorders, you've just wasted $300 and you've got nowhere. So I'd suggest anyone looking for help, definitely jump on the website and see what there is to offer in those different modalities.
Yeah, that's where a lot of people get help from. And I know friends of mine who had trouble with gut issues with their kids from really young, got help through the Mind Foundation, and they just talk so well of them. And I've always heard a lot of good stuff about the Mind Foundation, but have only just recently obviously looked into it, because we didn't, we weren't really in this sphere until the last half of the year, last year.
Yeah.
So I'm dying to go, but I'll actually be in the UK.
I'll take notes for you.
So I'm sending Leah in my place. Leah, take lots of notes.
I will. I'll take lots of notes. Maybe I can be like a roving reporter and I can do, an up to date podcast, and I can grab how cool that would be. That would be really cool. I'm just looking at who they've got. So they've got Dr. Nancy O'Hara. I've not heard of her, but she does some sort of biomed treatments.
Okay.
But so we've got Dr. Natasha, and then I also saw, in scrolling down here the other day, I got to meet Alex Stewart.
Woohoo, I love Alex. She's my friend.
Yeah, I know. You introduced me to her the other day.
She's going to be speaking. Yes. She does cooking demonstrations usually as well. Is she doing a cooking demonstration?
I don't know. It just on the side it just has a little blurb about who she is.
Yeah,
but I was
she's been working with them for a while.
That's who I met.
Yes.
So
and she's really also excited. Going to be on our podcast soon.
Well, yes. Actually, she is, isn't she?
She's going to be talking about detoxing the home.
Wow.
Yes.
And the other really cool thing person that's going to be at the Mind is Therese Kerr.
Yes.
And we met her in Cairns. And what she's doing for people's health through their homes, it's just inspirational. And if anyone wants to follow her on Instagram, it's like daily she's putting up research, she's putting up empowerment, she's putting up support, and she's trying to link as many people as possible with the people, resources, research, all those things. She's trying to get them in the right place. So it's a one-stop shop, and she's doing such a great job. So I can't wait to catch up with her and see what's new for her.
Yeah.
And what new things she's tackling.
Yeah, that'll be good.
It will be. Anyway, we should talk about, because that's, that's what's hot in GAPS at the moment, is that Dr. Natasha is going to be in Australia. But we should talk about Easter.
Yes,
because Easter is coming up before Dr. Natasha.
That's true.
So let's get Easter out of the way.
Okay.
All right.
So we've put together a few different ideas of treats that you can make. I know over Easter and Christmas and things like that, it's difficult for you if you're on early GAPS. It's very difficult because there's not much you can have. But we've got a few tips and ideas. And then as you're more onto full GAPS like we are now, it is easier because you can handle a little bit of sweetness more than you would usually have for a day.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not going to overload your kids with Easter eggs and go silly. But there's lots of ideas that we have. So I think the first one that we need to talk about is chocolate, don't you?
Yes.
Chocolate.
Yes. I mean, well, that's That's
something
that's on the food pyramid, you know.
That one's like a basic food.
Yeah, really. It's an absolute requirement.
Now that I'm on full GAPS, I can say that. But we must
how proud
remember,
are you to say you're full GAPS?
But we must also remember these people who are not yet on full GAPS and not yet having chocolate. When would you recommend bringing chocolate in?
Oh, look,
I've got this question the other day.
It's so varied, though. I reckon it's an intuitive thing.
Yeah, I know. It's intuitive. It's like Easter, that's when you bring it in. No.
Yeah, the calendar said it's Easter, so that's when I bring it in. No, you know, like you've got your GAPS, your intro section, and then it's after you've done your first stage. Where did we bring that in? We brought that in.
We started 1st of October. Oh, sorry, we did start end of July, but we weren't doing it properly, intro diet, until 1st of October. And we did have some chocolate Christmas. Did we have?
But that's kind of what we're talking about, though.
Yeah, we had a little tiny bit. Mostly we had the white chocolate that I made with the berries.
Yeah. So maybe let's not tell people that it's all right to jump in there and you know, just go crazy with the chocolate, or even bring it in, you know, like it's individual. You need to find out where you are.
Well, we had 5 months without it, so we survived.
Yeah. And then you made that white chocolate one too.
Yeah, so I made the white chocolate, and I am going to put up, hopefully today, if I can get myself together, put up a recipe on my on my blog for a caramel chocolate that's made with coconut butter and cacao butter and things like that. And it doesn't have cacao powder in it.
Okay. And do you think that made a difference with your load?
Because I think it did.
I don't know, because I never had, because you had the itchy legs, the itchy nose, and you can speak from experience. So you think that dark chocolate was more an irritant than this other one? I
brought the actual cacao powder in slowly. So when I did have a little bit of the dark chocolate, I mixed it with, layered it with the caramel chocolate so that it wasn't just all dark. And I also cut down on the amount of cacao powder I put in. Like I used to put 50 or 60 grams of cacao powder to 200 grams of cacao butter, but I took it back to about 20 grams of powder to sort of not have it so strong. The other thing that you've got to remember is when I first put the cacao butter in, I found that very rich for me because I don't think my liver was coping with it too well.
Because it's fats.
Yeah.
It's fats.
And it was very rich. So if you are only just bringing chocolate back in, be really careful. Go slowly. Don't eat heaps of it. Otherwise, you're going to end up on the loo or whatever it is however it is you react. For me, I got the runs real bad the first time I did it. So thanks for that, she says.
Well, you know,
sorry,
bite's never enough.
But I think it's just, that's the problem. You can easily overdo it. So either make it and divide it up into little packs for everybody and then put them in the freezer, and then you've all got that amount that you're allowed to have then, maybe. That might be a way to do it.
Well, that's right. Or make up an amount and keep what you need and give the rest away.
Yeah. And then you've got some gifts.
Then you've got gifts. So
I suppose, and don't panic. You can always make it again in another few weeks. You know,
well, that's
not
right.
The end of the world.
Yeah, but you don't want to be. Well, for me, if it's in the fridge, I'm going to eat it.
Yeah, same.
Because it's like it's calling to me.
And even if it's in the bottom of the freezer hidden, I'm still going to eat it.
I still know it's there.
Same.
And it's on my mind. And if I get stressed, I'm going to be looking for that sugar hit, or I'm going to be looking for that thing that's going to calm me down.
When you just want that little bit of sweetness, instead of going for a ginger tea with honey, you'll go for the chocolate.
Well, that's right. So I think for anyone that's like-minded, you make what you need and you get it out of the house, because otherwise it's going to plague you.
Yes. So and I think once you've introduced it and it seems to be going okay, and you want to make a darker chocolate or whatever, there's plenty of recipes online, but I've got a raw chocolate recipe, dairy-free raw chocolate. And I think, do you have a recipe on your blog too, Leah?
Yeah, I do. Mine's really rich though.
Okay, so Leah's is very rich, and it was so good. I did have a fair bit of that when I was down in Sydney. Yeah, I must admit. And I don't think I reacted to that. I really think it was when I got home after that and I made chocolate with honey and overdid it. I think that's when I reacted. So maybe it's more the sugars for me.
Maybe. Maybe because that's a thing for Simeon too, isn't it?
It is.
The sugars.
It is. Yeah.
The sugars. So maybe that's something you and I need to do some work on.
Yes. So really with GAPS, you should already have pulled back so much on the sugars that you don't need as much in the recipes. So even my recipes on my blog, my older ones like my chocolate and stuff, cut the sugars way down. Even leave the honey out. Like I use honey instead of any other sugars in the chocolate because we're doing GAPS. And I think I used to do about, 60 to 100 grams of honey or something ridiculous in my chocolate. I can't remember. And now I'm down to 30 and I still find that a little bit too sweet. So next time I make it, I'll probably just put just a teaspoon of honey or something in there to take the edge off it. But Leah's chocolate, she doesn't put any sweetener in, do you?
No. I just do 50-50. I do 50 cacao butter and then 50 the cacao powder. And I've got no sweetener at all in there.
Yeah. But sometimes you add some sultanas or something.
Yeah, like it's
goji berries.
We call them a little piggle mix. My kids love piggle, and they like to just piggle on something. So it's an expression that we've got in our house. So we make a little piggle mix, and it might be some macadamias and a few almonds and a couple of bits of chocolate, and then like a few sultanas. And I've noticed, and actually that's where I started it. The kids had put the chocolate and the sultana in their mouth at the same time, because the chocolate was too bitter for them.
Yeah.
And they actually tolerated the chemical-free sultanas really well.
Well, that's good.
So that's where they're getting their bit of a hit, and which is good because they're moderating what their intake is, and it's not in there. It's something you add to it. So you've got your base, and then you add to it from there.
Yeah. And some other things that we've put into the chocolate. So if you do like the orange zest and cinnamon and some roasted flaked almonds or activated flaked almonds, like crush them up a bit and make a bark. And you can really spread the chocolate out with things like nuts and coconut shreds or flakes or and so
if you can tolerate it, you can go and get those lovely sour cherries from,
I love them.
Is it Loving Earth?
Yeah.
They do the sour cherries. They're not sweetened or anything, but it's just got that tiny little bit, and you only need to
tangy.
you just throw them in the Thermomix and blitz them all up, and just having that little bit.
I leave them whole and chunky.
Oh, do you? No, I just, just so it's cut or diced or whatever. So it's more minced, not a paste.
I guess when I cut up the bark, it sort of chops them in half and stuff.
Yeah.
But with some nuts in there or seeds if you can't have nuts. And I find that spreads out the chocolate quite a bit as well, and then you don't get so much of the, cacao hit.
And actually when you start making your own raw stuff, I've found that I can't have it at nighttime because it's such a strong, I still find it's, so energizing.
That's right.
That having it at nighttime, I just get,
go to sleep.
I'm highly active. I'm ready to vacuum.
Yes.
So food is still affecting me greatly, not in an adverse way, because I know that instead of having a cup of coffee, if I've got crunch time and I need to get something done and delivered, I know that I can just go and get a piece of chocolate. But, not ideal if you're trying to unwind and go to bed.
Yeah. I should also mention, if you don't want to bother making your own chocolate, you can buy Cindy O'Meara's cacao wafers.
Oh, they're so divine.
And they're just the nibs ground up and made into, a paste and then set into wafers. That's all it is. There's no sweetener in them.
They're room stable. That's the big thing that gets me is that you can put them in your kids' lunch boxes and you don't have to worry with a lot of raw chocolate. Mine in particular, you've got to store it in the freezer. I mean, yours would be up there in Atherton, table ends. It would just –
it melts.
But hers are like they're room temperature stable. Like obviously room temperature for you is a bit different for me.
Would you find them about the same strength of cacao as yours?
I think so. I think so. Just by colour and texture and everything, I think that they're pretty much
it's very strong. But like Leah was saying, you can chuck them in a mix if you want to with some little sour cherries and things, or you can melt them down. And if you don't have a Thermomix, you can just do it in a double boiler, stirring them. Don't get any water in there.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you can make a bark. So that's a very simple way. In the Thermomix, it's very easy, but if you don't have one, just use the double boiler and do it that way. There is also on the Loving Earth website, they have videos of how to make chocolate, raw chocolate. And so it's not using a Thermomix or anything. It's just old-fashioned way. So that's another good – you can get some good ideas from all different types of chocolates you can make on there.
Yeah. All right. Well, what are some of the other things that you're going to have over Christmas? I said Christmas. I meant Easter. Whoops, dear.
Well, we usually have some kind of hot cross buns. This year it's going – I've been trying to get into the kitchen to play with some recipes all week, and I haven't had a chance. So I have Googled some and found there's one on the website, an Aussie with Crohn's, and she's got a hot cross bun, paleo, SCD, GAPS kind of. And they look really good. And she's got one that's totally unsweetened.
Yep.
If you need that. And then she's got one that's a little bit sweet with dried fruit in it. And they look more like muffins, but they look beautiful.
Okay.
So I'll put the link to that at the bottom of the Wellness Couch page with this podcast on it.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
The Merrymakers.
They've got a good one?
Yeah, well, I haven't made it.
Yeah.
Haven't made it, but it came up in my Instagram feed the other day and they look the real deal.
Ooh.
I know. I was excited.
Okay.
Besides they've got like this, just a huge amount of chocolates and sweets and things like that for Easter. But I saw these things come through and I was just like, oh, they almost look like shop bought ones.
Do they have starches in them though?
What do you mean starches?
Well, like tapioca or arrowroot.
No,
they don't.
No,
okay.
I don't think so. Like I have some of their other paleo ebooks. I've just downloaded them. And they're basically using the nuts and seeds. I can't even remember seeing them use plantain flour or any of those other things.
Oh, okay.
But I haven't seen the recipe. I haven't downloaded the book. But I will have to go and do that. Yeah, they're so economical, and you just use them over and over again.
So that would be. Oh, look, I've got it here. I'm just going to have a quick look and see what's.
Are you?
Yeah.
Does it give it an ingredients list?
Yep, it's on the blog. So it's the merrymakersisters.com/paleo hot cross buns.
Yeah.
And let's see, almond milk, coconut flour, maple syrup or honey, eggs, butter or ghee or coconut oil, 2 apples peeled, unsweetened sultanas, nutmeg, cinnamon. Woohoo, we can have it.
Yeah. See?
There you go.
See?
So there's that one.
You need to cut and paste that and put it at the bottom of our sheet so then it goes up on the Wellness Couch because I think everyone's going to love that. Actually, everything I've made from there has been really good.
Oh, that's good. And there was another one that I saw. So theirs looks good. Theirs looks like it's cooked like a muffin in a muffin cup.
Yeah.
And
how amazing is the internet, right?
I know.
There's all these inspirations.
There is. And then there's another one in a website called Gluten-Free SCD and Veggie.blogspot.com.au.
Yeah.
They've got allspice grain-free hot cross buns and they have got they look like a bun.
Ooh,
so they're molded.
A
bun. They're not poured into a muffin. So I haven't tried them, but they looked good as well. And then if you don't have to be.
Can we have a hot cross bun competition on your website, on your page?
Sure, let's do it.
Let's do that on Instagram or something, or let's have a. I think
so Instagram's a good idea because.
Well, if they hashtag it, maybe they can hashtag quirky. It's Quirky Joe? What are you on Instagram?
Quirky Cooking or
Quirky
Joe
Cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we'll put them on there.
Yeah. We'll figure something out. Good idea.
We'll figure something out because everyone's got a different take and it'd be great to have that as part of a reference library to go back to next year.
There is a lot. There is a few on my website. The oldest one is obviously a spelt one. Then there's a gluten-free one which is based on my gluten-free artisan bread, which has probably been the most popular one. And it's moldable.
Yeah.
But it's not grain-free. Do I have a grain-free one? I don't think I do. I think the other two are just gluten-free. So that's why I need to
get cracking.
I know, and I've been saying this for a couple of weeks. I've just been so busy. But I have to play around a bit with a few ideas that I have in my head that haven't managed to make it to the kitchen yet.
No, that's fine. Okay, so on my table, we're probably going to do like a baked whole fish. I'm going to do some seasonal dipped chocolate fruits, so like your berries and the kiwi fruit. I was even thinking poached pears.
Oh, yeah.
And then
in
maybe
coconut water.
In coconut water, but then try and incorporate some of the flavours that you would have in the hot cross buns.
Oh, yeah.
So you've still got that aromatic thing going on. So I think that would be really
Beautiful.
cool. And then I'm going to make that my, multi-purpose coconut vanilla cream. I'm going to make that and have that as a side with
You got to do that.
with that. You got to do that. It's so good. And then the panna cottas.
Yes.
Maybe we could do something like, I don't know, like a coconut panna cotta.
Coconut
So then you're getting
cream
your
panna cotta's
gelatin and your
beautiful.
collagen and, all those things into those are still being honoured, I suppose.
Yeah.
Now, I have tried this Pinterest thing.
Yes.
It's doing my head in.
Oh, why?
Well, because I'm so inept when it comes to those sorts of things. And it's new and it's scary.
Actually, that's what I need to do is just pin all these on an Easter pin board.
Yeah, you should do that.
On mine.
But you should also educate me in the process of Pinterest, okay? Because in doing and preparing for this podcast, we don't prepare a lot, but I wanted to have some inspiration. And then I was doing Google searches and you just get lame, images that aren't really, that great. So then I decided I was going to go to Pinterest. I had to log in and create an account, and all I wanted to do was look at the pictures, and it was so hard. And then they asked me to do a board, and I didn't know what that was. And and then I liked and clicked on a thing, and then it wanted to pin it to something. And I'm just like, So yeah, that drove me nuts. So you're going to have to pull me aside and give me a bit of an education.
We just need to get you set up.
Yeah, we need to get set up.
And once you start, you won't be able to stop. Actually, I haven't been on there very much lately. I need to get back on there. There's just too many things to keep up with.
Yeah, but in my struggles, I saw one amazing thing, which I'm absolutely pumped about. What this clever person did, she got these molds for, Easter egg molds. Mm-hmm. And I think they might have been like a cake pop mold or something. So it's an Easter egg type shape, top and bottom. She put jelly in them and stood them up in the fridge. So then she made these Easter eggs out of, the Easter egg shapes out of solid gelatin, which she had used. And she had like blue and purple and orange and, obviously synthetic colours.
That's such a good idea.
But then once she did that, she took them out of the moulds and she got a melon baller and scooped out the centre of all of the eggs, both sides, and then she put a cream in there.
Yeah.
And then put them back together.
Yum.
And then she dipped them in chocolate so they were whole again and put them on the end of stick.
Yum.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine doing like a rose water flavoured jelly with a cream in the middle? It would be like a Turkish delight on a stick.
That would be beautiful.
But that just blew my mind, and now I'm really cranky because I don't understand how to use, the Pinterest, and I can't get any further on my page, and all I wanted to do was then look, and I couldn't.
You should be able to click through to the website from there.
Yeah. What?
So the whole idea of Pinterest is you click on the picture.
Yes.
And then it goes through to that website.
Do you click once or you click twice? Because I clicked once and it asked me to pin it to my board, and I was like, what's the board?
Okay, yeah, you might need to pin it to your board first and then click through. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't think so, but maybe.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was something I thought was really cool. The other thing I think
cool.
everyone needs to be mindful is it's not about the food.
Hang on, I'm not finished talking about the food.
It's not about you. It's about me. It's not about the food and it's not about Joe Witten. Now, shush. No, your turn. Sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to say a few people have asked me about how do you do the chocolate egg molds with raw chocolate. So
it's easy.
Yeah, but I find with the raw chocolate it's very thin. So what I do is I get a brush and I paint the chocolate into each egg mold and then put it in the freezer. And you only need to put it in the freezer for a couple of minutes. So you put one in, take the other one out, and brush another layer of chocolate over, put that in, take the first one out, brush another layer. And you might have to do it 5 or 6 times to get a decent thick layer of chocolate with the raw chocolate, I find. Mm-hmm. And then put them back in the freezer to set. When you are ready to put them together and you pop them out of the molds, your hands need to be cold and you need to work really quick. You've got to just rub your finger around the inside of the mold and stick them together. But if you take too long, you'll get fingerprints in the chocolate on the outside because the raw chocolate just melts so quickly. So you have to do it. You have to work really quickly. What I did one year was I made my dulce de leche, which is the Spanish caramel.
Yeah, okay. That's just the reduction, isn't it?
Yeah, so what you do is you make my dairy-free condensed milk, which is made with coconut cream and vanilla, and you can use honey or maple syrup or whatever. And you just boil it down until it's really thick. It makes a caramel. And then you can put that inside the eggs and then stick them together. So then you've got your chocolate caramel eggs. Yeah.
That's ingenious.
Yeah, it's so yummy. And what I did one year was
you would only have one, right? One of those eggs on Easter.
Oh, they're only little. I make
Are
little
they?
ones. Yeah, I make little ones.
Okay.
So I wouldn't do that in a big egg. That would be sickly. Ugh. But, yeah, just the tiny small ones. And then what I did was used muffin tins, and I made coconut nests for the eggs. So I did just either coconut butter mixed in while it's still warm to coconut shred and pressed in to make a nest, or you could make it a raw chocolate mixed with the coconut shred and pushed in if you want it brown. And then you just, once that's set in the freezer, you can pop it out of the muffin tins and put the eggs in it. And then each child has one of those on their plate, a little nest, an edible nest with the eggs in it.
Oh, that's inspired.
Yeah. And then another thing that I did, some of them I filled with the caramel, and some I just did the completely, just the raw chocolate, and I put different doTERRA oils in the different chocolates, so there was all different flavors. So there was orange and there was peppermint and
cool.
different. So each egg in the nest was a different flavor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, I'm one of those lazy mothers that would just go and get some activated almonds and dip the almond in the chocolate and just let it run off. Then that's done because it's already in the shape of an egg.
There you go. That's what you do if you have little babies and you're too busy and or you're working.
Too distracted. Yeah,
you're working over Easter.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Well, it's still egg-shaped, kind of.
But what you were saying about the jellies, I was going to say gummies are a good idea for people that are on early GAPS and can't do the whole chocolate thing.
Yes.
Definitely, that's a great idea. The gummy jelly things in the Easter egg shapes. That's perfect.
Yeah, because you can get those little plastic Easter eggs that you can pop open, and then you can hide the gummy inside them. So then they're still in an Easter egg shape, and then you can scatter them amongst the, the forestry in the backyard.
That's true, yeah.
So then they've got something to find.
And if they're up to dried fruit, you could put a little bit of dried fruit and nuts in there.
Oh, yes.
If you're not up to that, then maybe...
How about a bit of dried mango half dipped in chocolate?
That's beautiful. I love
Back to the dehydrator.
Yes.
Ooh.
And then you could also do, if you're up to almond meal, which is only stage 3, I think. In my cookbook, there's the cinnamon donut cupcakes.
Okay.
If you make those with a little bit of honey instead of the coconut sugar, or maple syrup, I think it is, just make it with honey and don't put the sugar on top. You can make, if all else fails, you can add the what am I trying to say? The hot cross bun spices to that, and make little grain-free. I might even just use that recipe as a base for mine. Maybe I'll try that. But it's just a really delicious light cake, and you don't need much sweetener if you've got the spices in there, I find, and even some steamed apple in there is really nice. But you could easily make those really tiny mini muffins, if you've got those tiny mini muffin tins. Something like that would fit into one of those little eggs, those plastic eggs.
Yeah.
So little things like that. If you're desperate for treats in the early stages, that's some ideas.
Yeah. Easy.
And there was one more one that I was going to mention, and I'll put the link, that looked really good, which was some Easter cookies that were just really thin, crunchy, spicy cookies with currants in them. And they're cut out into Easter shapes, so like your bunnies or whatever. And kids would love those, and they're grain-free, and that's on the website Whole Body Health Fitness, and I'll post the link for that one as well.
Very good, very good. Other than foods as little gifts, some, like when you can't have chocolates and things, you often have, like at Christmas, you've got your stocking stuffers. I still go back to the new set of pajamas. You're coming into winter, so why can't the Easter bunny bring
too? And some bunny slippers.
Bunny slippers. There's functional, practical things that they're going to need in the next few months anyway.
Yeah.
So, there's nothing wrong with getting some socks.
That's right. Fuzzy socks.
I know. And you can roll, like, if you get on the computer or YouTube or whatever, they've got these little how-to things where you can roll a towel and turn it into a bunny rabbit, or you can roll socks and turn it into something else. So it doesn't actually have to be just a pair of socks in a packet. You can actually do something with it to create it, to make it look like something else.
I have seen the bunny rabbit ones. That's a good idea. Socks made out of bunny rabbits, maybe. I
Could
mean,
definitely do
no,
that.
no, not socks made out of bunny rabbits. I
Socks
mean,
made up of bunny rabbits.
Poor bunny rabbits.
They are going to be the warmest socks I've ever had.
oh, they would be really warm. I meant bunny rabbits made out of socks. Excuse me.
Too funny. I'm not going to let you live that down. Oh, man, that's good.
Oh, dear.
Oh, we've just developed a whole new line of Ugg boots.
Bunny rabbit Ugg boots.
Bunny rabbit Ugg boots. Oh,
bunny.
Fuad would be all over that because,
yeah.
you know, like he likes a good rabbit.
Yeah, that's right. He could use the rest of it in his restaurant.
Oh, that's right. He could.
So what other things did you think of that were – oh, I had another one that was a non-food. It was on an Instagram page. Okay, it's Be a Fun Mum, and she's probably on her Facebook as well. And, she has a blog post. I'll put the link there. Of non-chocolate Easter gift options, and she's got these gorgeous little homemade gifts of jars full of things like little pens and toys and stickers and games and notebooks and key rings and things. So it's all in a jar, and it's all brightly coloured and decorated, and just some really cute ideas for kids that are not lollies and not food. So that's on Be a Fun Mum's blog.
Well, I've only got other suggestions like, you know, going to the park and creating fun there and actually getting out. You're being blessed with the time of you know, family.
It's generally one of the few times of the year that most of the family's off together.
That's right.
Do something together.
Yeah. You know, it's forced time together because a lot of shops are closed.
Yeah.
So you get that chance to, initiate play and really get out there on the kids' level and enjoy them. And it really should be about them. I mean, really all they really want is your time and your attention.
Yeah.
So if you make the day all about them and interacting in them and just be focused in where they are and be present with them, then the less important the food treats are going to be.
That's right. My husband's actually working all of Easter, but anyway.
Yeah, but he works in a hospital. Someone's got to run the hospital. Someone's got to look after the people that need help.
That's right. But we're not worried. We're going to have fun. He'll be home in the afternoons.
Yeah. Well, you just make everyone stay in bed till he gets home.
Yeah. Can I stay in bed all day? That sounds like a good holiday. I think
so. I'm sure that you could. No
Actually,
laptops.
I don't think I could.
No.
I would be. My legs would be jumping around, going, "I need to get up."
Yeah, you're the same as me.
Yeah.
That's right. You're busy.
Yes. Any other special rituals or anything for Easter? I know.
No, Easter isn't a great big thing in my house. You know, like it's not. It's a shorter duration of time, and really, you're just getting back into the swing of school, and then all of a sudden they spring this holiday on you, and it sneaks up on you so quickly. So Easter's not a really big time for us.
Yeah. Well, it's never been like a major. I guess when we were kids growing up, we didn't have all the Easter eggs and everything.
No, we didn't either because, you know, like I was an asthma kid and chocolate would just set off, a great big asthma attack for me.
We used to go when the shops, when Easter was over and done with and the shops opened again, we'd go and buy the bags of crushed Easter eggs at Big W, you know, the broken ones, and you'd buy a bag for like $2, and that was our Easter eggs. We were like, oh, this is awesome. That's what we used to do. But that was about, I mean, otherwise we did go to church on Sunday, and we do that on the Sunday, but we don't have any other rituals really except get together with family and eat lamb roast. And we have lamb roast.
You have lamb roast?
Yeah. Any excuse for a lamb roast?
Well, for me, we try to, getting fish is a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, like you can get, you know, just normal run-of-the-mill fish, but at Easter you've got that little bit more time to go foraging, and I think we're a little bit calmer. And now we're near the Sydney fish markets, we can go down there. So I'm really looking forward to doing like a whole baked fish because I've actually got the time to go and source it, find what I'm looking for, and then prepare it.
That's good.
So that's probably going to be our special thing. And because, you know, we're on GAPS all the time, you know, like we're always eating lamb. Like lamb is our absolute favourite because of the fat content.
Yeah.
We're just drawn to that.
Yeah.
But, for Easter this year we're going to make a bit of an effort and try and get hold of a nice fish.
That's not a bad idea for a change. Maybe I should do that.
Well, just breaks it up.
If I should mention, just with the lamb thing, while I'm thinking of it, my favourite way to cook lamb now is get a big bulb of fennel and cut off the feathery bits and slice it really thin and put that in your big pot, and then put some leek in there, heaps of garlic chopped up, and put a whole lamb roast in there, leg, and then just maybe half cover it with water.
Yep.
And just put the lid on, salt, and just let it simmer for hours until it's falling off the bone, and that fennel and leek and everything goes all caramelly, and it's just the most delicious thing. So if you're on GAPS, you can do that because it's cooked in the water.
Yeah, and maybe use some star anise.
Yeah, that would be good in there too. Bring out the licoricey flavour a bit.
Yeah.
And I do put in a bit of rosemary as well.
Oh, good girl.
Yes.
Excellent.
So there you go. So how are you going to what are you going to put on the fish when you bake it?
Well, I think I'm just going to do, my dad does a salt crust fish where he makes he gets a whole heap of rock salt and actually makes a little, tomb out of it, for lack of a better word, where he lays down the salt and then he puts the fish on the top and then lays down a layer of the salt so it's encased. And then he bakes it like that. I don't know that I have the confidence to do that.
I've seen that on MasterChef once and it looked beautiful the way it came out.
Yeah, and when you crack it, it goes, like the salt goes hard like a crust. And I mean, you're not eating the salt, but inside it
flavours it.
Yeah. So it's not a salty type thing. So he does that. I'm not sure that I'm not sure I've got the skills to do that. So I think I'll just be doing it, just a steamed fish or maybe in the top of the varoma.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably just serve it on some fennel.
Yep.
Just some reduced, chicken broth or something with some fennel.
Yeah. Sounds good.
That's what I think I'll do.
Cool.
Bit of lemon, little bit of lemon zest or something. It'll be basic. You can't go wrong. As long as you keep the fish basic, then that's not a problem.
I know. Herbs, lemon juice, olive oil.
Yes.
Lemon zest. Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong. No. Just get a good fish.
Yeah, definitely.
Get a good fish.
And butter if you can have it. Lots of butter.
Oh, now you're just pulling heads.
Sorry.
I remember butter. That's that stuff that I can't have.
Yeah, same here. Never mind.
So everybody else, if you're going to go and do fish, you've got to put butter on it for me.
And me. Lots of it.
Lots of it. And then post on our Facebook page and really rub it in.
No, don't do that. But speaking about posting on Facebook pages, we would love it if you posted your Easter treats, your healthy Easter treats, photos of them on our Facebook pages so we can share them.
Yes.
And or post what you're going to make, what you're thinking of, because a lot of other people are out there looking for ideas and feeling a bit stuck. And
we need to inspire.
Yeah, maybe it's the first year they've gone off all the sugars and the junk and their kids are freaking out. So share the ideas, share the love.
Support the community.
Yeah. And
definitely.
we'll work out a Instagram photo competition. How about that?
Oh, we could do that, couldn't we?
I think we should.
Yes.
All right. We'll
Let's
look into
do that. I'm going to, Can I participate?
Yeah, please do.
Oh, good.
We'll do it together.
Oh, sweet.
All right. Well, we'll figure that out. And we'll even do some pinning together so you can post a Pinterest board. Maybe we'll do that one together.
Okay.
Easter.
So maybe we should finish the podcast and brainstorm and then surprise everyone what we've come up with.
They won't be very surprised. We already told them.
Yeah, but they don't know what medium we're going to do it on or how we're going to present it. There might be criteria. It might all be,
And there might be presents.
There might be prizes.
Yeah. I'm sure we can get some prizes.
Okay, well, we'll have to get some from somewhere.
I'm sure we will.
Oh,
okay.
Right.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, thank you, everybody. And we hope you enjoyed the chit-chat today, all about Paleo and GAPS and Pete Evans and Mind Foundation and the Mind Forum and Easter. We covered a lot of ground.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and also in our podcast notes, I actually put a list of people that I follow on Facebook and Instagram and those things because we get such this. Well, it's great to have a mix of both sides of the story, but I prefer to have my little blinkers on because I'm sticking to my path because it's working. So I populate my Facebook feed with all the fuzzy, nice things that are about our diet and the research that's coming in rather than the more negative sources. So anyway, I won't name names, but if you have a look at the bottom of that, there's the people that I follow and the information where I'm getting my information from, and like it's accountable. So I just sort of thought I'd put that in as well.
Great.
So,
that's good. Lots of links. So if you're listening on iTunes and you don't know where to find these links, you need to go over to thewellnesscouch.com/AQJ, which is A Quirky Journey, and you'll find our homepage, and then just look for the latest one, the one that we're talking on now, GAPS Easter. And what are we going to call this one? It's not really just about Easter.
I don't know.
We'll figure it out. Anyway,
we've covered so much this one.
Yeah, it'll be the podcast number 18 anyway.
Okay.
So have a look there, and on the bottom of the page, when you scroll down past the blurb about the podcast, you'll find links. Okay?
Okay.
And if you go and have a look at thewellnesscouch.com, you'll find lots of other podcasts. And there's obviously you can follow us on iTunes and subscribe to us. I hope you will. And give us a 5-star rating if you like. We would like that.
No, you must give us a 5-star rating.
I'm trying to be nice.
I know. No. There's no nice. We need it. I don't even know why we need it. Why do we say that every week?
It's because that if you've got a higher rating, iTunes drives traffic to your iTunes more. To your podcast.
So it means that there's
people find you.
It's easier for people to find us.
Yes, that's what it means.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Keep working on all those small changes, and hope you have an awesome Easter. And we would love to see your photos, so please post them. And we'll be back next week. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
This has been a production of TheWellnessCouch.com. Check us out on Facebook and join in the conversation on Facebook.com/TheWellnessCouch. Subscribe to each show on iTunes and check us out on Twitter. The Wellness Couch, streaming wellness into your lives.
Whilst the Wellness Couch presenter endeavor to provide accurate and helpful information to their listeners, these podcasts cannot take into account individual circumstances and are not intended to be a substitute for health and medical advice from a qualified health professional. You should always seek the advice of a qualified health professional before acting on any of the information provided by any of the Wellness Couch podcasts.